When it comes to male fashion designers in particular, there are more than enough to fill this list several times over. So this list is by no means comprehensive. And don't worry, ladies, you'll have your time in the sun as well. In any case, think of this as the first of several, and how these designers provide a window into a more detailed and comprehensive way at looking at lifestyle fashion. So I'm your boy Reggie Casual, and here are 7 male fashion designers that streetwear fans and everyone else should study. And why? It's the SOS, let's get it. First up to bat, Craig Green, graduate of Central St. Martin's, winner of the 2014 British Emerging Menswear Designer. Craig Green is the perfect example of if you can make it better and bigger, then do it. Green's willingness to make bold choices as a menswear designer got him worldwide recognition, including putting planks of wood all up into models' faces, a move that got him all kinds of raised eyebrows, to be sure. But that boldness got Green noticed, and his efforts encouraged a new era of menswear designers to be unafraid of criticism, but rather fearless and confident, whether it was in design or styling. For Green, his designs were so forward that even ladies appreciated his neutral approach to fashion. And while starting as a menswear label, Green noticed this and began showcasing ladies on his runways. This simple act of paying attention landed Craig Green more adoration from the entire fashion world. And that alone is enough to study the guy. Now I get it, it's real easy to put Kim Jones on this list, real easy. His achievements speak for themselves, but just for the sake of being thorough. 2006 Menswear Designer of the Year, 2009 Menswear Designer of the Year, 2019 Menswear Designer of the Year. He's a graduate of Central St. Martin's, launched his own eponymous brand in 2003, worked with Topman, Hugo Boss, Umbro, and Kanye West's Pastel. The man has a resume that's ridiculous. He became creative director of Alfred Dunhill in 2008, style director of menswear for LV in 2011, and was named creative director of Dior Homme in 2018, and in 2020 was named artistic director of Fendi Women's Collection, succeeding the late great Karl Lagerfeld. Not many are complaining at that choice, by the way. So why should you study Kim? You mean other than the fact that the man puts in work? Well, Kim Jones, for all his greatness as a designer, he does make great stuff. He just understands one simple thing that many tend to forget. Working with others and uplifting them is just as important as building your own cachet. Look at the man works. He always works with other people. And that's a big reason why you should study him. Now this next one might come as a surprise because we talk about Jun Takahashi of Undercover quite a bit, but it's been time for me specifically to talk about Takahashi's best friend and confidant, Takahiro Miyashita. The former owner and creator of the now infamous Number 9 and now one-man powerhouse of Takahiro Miyashita the soloist is the epitome of being unapologetic about your interests and laying it out for everyone to see. For the Japanese particularly, this kind of commitment to an ideal is a very desirable and respected trait, and no designer so perfectly defines that than Miyashita-san. The man literally gave up a successful brand that still sells today because he wanted to have more control over his designs and career. Bold move to be sure, but it has given him the freedom to be who he wants to be as a designer. Will he be a multi-million dollar name? Perhaps not, but he does what's needed to maintain his presence and his art. Sometimes being unapologetic about who you are is a boon to your success or your continued art. And that's more than enough to study Miyashita-san. Rick Owens, of course, it's another one of those simple picks, right? The man literally has one of the most successful independent labels in fashion history. In fact, we got an episode coming up about him. I mean, this man makes 120 million a year off of his namesake brand and counting a year. It's crazy. We could also point to the guy's literal changing of the entire conversation of anti-fashion with his luxury goth concept that is his label. We could do that, or even him challenging the idea of gender norms and fashion as art. That's what we expect from him. But Rick's real reason for study is his willingness to listen, his willingness to not simply close the door to fashion, designer, or street alike. He may be one of the industry darlings, but Rick's admiration of all forms of fashion makes him a better designer, a better student, and a better ambassador for fashion as a whole. For example, if Rick makes something, he comes out with a collection, and the critics deem it as not as good as his last collections, all you should really hear from that is, it's not for you, dog. Like, it's not for you. That's why you should study Rick. Listen, yes, and give people the time of day, but sometimes you shouldn't give a F. Just make what you want. Know the difference in the balance between listening and not caring about what others think about you. Rick sure does, and he continues to kill it. That's the case. That's the case for Rick Owens. This next one is a newbie, but a good one. Kirby Raymond. I mean, dude is a big inspiration. I could holler off about his fearlessness of the big issues that matter to him, like his unapologetic attitude towards police brutality and racial issues in America. But that would be too easy. And honestly, a great many would just be either off-put by that for some reason, or worse, only consider that as inspirational because virtue signaling is more important than actually being about it. But that's a totally different conversation. Kirby Raymond is not only a fantastic designer, he's the very definition of if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, and then try and try again. The man thoroughly admits his failures when he first started the fashion game. As he puts it, he was trying to be too conscious and ruining his business endeavors because instead of telling stories through his work, he was telling stories directly, trying to make people listen without context. So when he went back, he put it all into his work. Beyond that, he is a natural disruptor, winning the CFDA Vogue Fashion Award and taking the $400,000 prize and investing the money back into his business instead of doing a big budget runway show for Fashion Week, what many other designers usually do and you never really hear from again. With his label Pierre Moss, he has nearly perfected a blend of retro, street, athletic wear, contemporary styling on the backdrop of social issues, particularly when it comes to Black Americans, which honestly is some of the best in fashion today from that perspective. To be so young and fearless is the hallmark of a great mind, and Raymond exudes that 100%. And that's the thing, you don't have to agree with him to be inspired by him or even like his art, because his way is working, as he was able to land a position at Reebok as the global creative director of sportswear. So like him or not, he's still doing things. And it's a good reason to study up on him. He proves 2 points. 1, you don't have to make clothes for everyone to have an impact. In fact, you shouldn't. And 2, understanding your shortcomings and mistakes is often a prelude to your success. One of my favorites, Watanabe. You wanna know how to make your mark and consistently drop fashion bangers for a specific clientele season after season? You wanna have that clientele eat up your product and remain quiet about it so no one can hype it, therefore ensuring you will always have the coolest look available as a client? And you wanna have that same clientele know for a fact that the designer in Watanabe agrees with those methods of exclusivity in a community of Watanabe? Then you should be studying Junior Watanabe, like every day. But you should also study Junior because if you truly love the art of fashion design, Junior represents that in every single way. Junior has been under the Comme des Garçons banner since after graduating from Bunka Fashion College in 1984. The protege of Rei Kawakubo herself, Junior is the epitome of loyalty to that banner label. But he's also one of the most consistent, distinguished, and skilled designers to come from the house of CDG. Seriously, he's almost a shoo-in for taking the reins of Comme des Garçons once Kawakubo finally decides to call it a career, but Junior isn't eagerly waiting in the wing for this to happen. Like his mentor, his concern is his work, his art, his craft, and his dedication to making garments for his audience. And that, more than anything, is why you should follow his example. It doesn't have to be for everybody. It could just be for specific people, and that's fine, because you can pave your own way that way. And last up, Luke Meyer. I mean, he's the perfect person to end this first list of fashion designers you should study, especially for those in that street-centric category, because Luke is the former creative director of Supreme. Yes, that's Supreme. For 8 years, he served under Supreme, becoming the creative director following the exit by Brendan Babenzian. And like Babenzian, Luke left Supreme to start his own label, OAMC, which in and of itself is hot damn amazing. And then, in an act of pure relationship goals, he teamed up with his then fiance and now wife, Lucy, to become co-creative directors of Jill Sander. That is what we call a glow up, ladies and gentlemen. Luke's journey from Supreme to Jill Sander is the trajectory every would-be street designer or any designer should be inspired by and follow to understand what growth as a designer means and how to expand your horizons and putting so much effort into your craft that you reach a level of success that is certainly enviable, but totally understandable. I mean, this man wasn't a design prodigy, a fashion wonderkind. Luke's just a hardworking designer eager to explore how far he can take his craft. He's basically a blue-collar designer, going so far as to marrying someone who shared the same passion for creation as he. That certainly is the epitome of goals if there ever was one. So study Luke. If you want to get into this game, study Luke. That's the guy. That's why he's number one on this list. I really admire that dude. Does great work. And that's just 7, but the first 7. I'm sure that we'll do more later in some other lists. And of course, we can't leave the ladies out of this, so they're next up to bat. But for you, name some other designers below in the comments, no matter the gender, that you think we should all study as students of fashion. And if you're interested in learning more about brand building, marketing, or just want to get some BTS and extra content, why not join us on Patreon to get in on our Patreon only series class, where we break down fashion and personal branding business to ensure your success in the industry, amongst other things. We'll have some fun back there as well. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion culture and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I'll see you guys in a minute.